was a typo, and I'm like, welcome to Comics League Movie Night. I'm Jared. I'm here with Robert. What's up, dude?
Yo, we're about to see a shift in the world power.
Yeah, you mean the hierarchy of power is about to change?
Hierarchy of power.
Well, we're talking about one of the most delayed movies of all time for DC, Black Adam.
Yep.
Like, and by the way, most of Punk has a good way of thinking. It was a fun movie. Great, no, rather mid, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was definitely mid. Here's the thing: there is a lot to enjoy, but here's the biggest flaw of the movie: it's outdated.
Well, yeah, because
by outdated, I mean it's written like one of the earlier comic book movies.
Like I would say, phase 1 of the MCU level. Here's the thing. They had all these delays, and I get it, and that wasn't necessarily their fault, but hey, when you got back to working on it, how about you actually do some rewrites on it and say, okay, how do we do this well?
Yeah, but the only thing they changed from the original script was to give her a Stargirl.
Yeah,
that was it.
William, oh my god, he's teasing me about Tom King again, but it's like at the very least, even though it is and it isn't comic accurate. In some ways it is, in some ways it really isn't, particularly in terms of The Rock not having the elf ears or the hair. But it's but I'm like, overall, well, let me put it this way. The best thing that this movie ever contributed is Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. That is the best. That is Henry Cavill Superman level of casting.
And then they kill him off.
But there's any number of ways they could have brought him back later on. Dr. Fate has died before.
Fate has died and come back many times. At the very least, they would keep him on as the voice of Naboo.
Yeah, Cameron says, what failed for me is that they tried to make Black Adam a hero or anti-hero when he's more of an anti-villain. At this point, they were trying to make him more of an anti-hero, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Well. Because remember, this... Okay, so here's the interesting thing about this. So when this movie was coming out, this was around the time that DC started putting out graphic novels that inspired the movie. And one of them was Black Adam Rise and Fall of an Empire. And what this is essentially, it's all the 52 Black Adam books. And what that was is he through Adriana Tomaz, who by the way in the comics is actually his wife. Essentially tried to redeem him pretty well by seeing my Black Adam episode with Britt. But it's so they were trying to turn him more into a hero. So it's not necessarily it's
they were more trying to be more like the Jeff Johns written.
Yeah, it was more like that. And now the part that in this movie that there is no defending is making Hawkman the one that goes, heroes don't kill. Hawkman! Of all the characters, Dr. Fate would have been a great choice for that. Hawkman?
Yeah.
The dude whose whole thing is that he's brutal.
Yeah, now the actor was fine in all other regards.
Oh, the casting was totally fine. I liked Aldous Hodge as a Hawkman. He was cool. And
I want to make that very clear. In all other regards, he was perfect.
And, really, all the castings in this movie were pretty spot on, and I really enjoyed them. But so essentially, the way this movie starts is that we get the movie talking about William says, without the core DC heroes in proper circulations, the B-listers just didn't have the same impact. Yeah, that's true. William brings up a great point. I think the reason why this movie failed, because I think in the right circumstances this would have still done well, is because at this point, no one cares about the JSA as compared to Superman.
Right.
That's the problem, because this would have worked. Because here's the thing. If you had made this movie Black Adam against Henry Cavill Superman instead of the JSA, you can't tell me the people wouldn't have shown up for that.
Right.
And it's that's the thing.
Let's talk about this. This was The Rock's passion project for years.
Yeah, at the very least, he even said it was probably the most important movie of his career.
It could have been if his ego was, but unfortunately, his ego was out of control.
Yeah, I mean, I get that he wanted to hype up the movie, but it's a problem when you say that Black Adam is the most powerful hero on Earth. He's one of the, I'm not going to say he's not like powerful. He's not the most powerful.
Exactly.
Although I do like where he goes, the most powerful being in the universe, meaning Superman, has been on the sidelines for too damn long. He has a point.
Oh, yeah, but you can tell he was trying to take advantage of the turmoil going on at WB.
And then William says, if you don't have an ego, you don't need to be an actor. No, but there's a certain point where you have to like balance that with the character, because if there had been rewrites into this when they actually seriously got into this, guess what they could have done? They could have done, okay, so we need to snap it to make the dialogue more snappy, base it more in the comic.
Here's the biggest issue, because, and we brought this up with Shazam, he wanted to be the Black Adam to be a solo character and have no tie to Shazam.
Never mind the fact that Shazam literally references Black Adam in the beginning where he gets the powers.
Exactly, but let's be honest, that's what he want. And the only consistency, they kept the same actor for Shazam, the Wizard,
which I like. That's cool. And you notice when we saw Black Adam in the Shazam vision, he still had the hood and stuff, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, it's like, because they asked him, why aren't you fighting Shazam in this? And he goes, because I don't want to fight a B-lister. And I go, you're playing Black Adam.
And William, the thing is though, like, it's not his job to balance anything. He was a producer. He had calls.
It was also his production company was also behind this movie. Hey, what's up, NJ?
And Shazam was not a poorly prepared Z-lister.
No, but you still have to, if you're playing Black Adam, it's like okay, Robert, it's like this. Let's say you have a Lex
Try to do Venom without Spider-Man.
It's like you have a Lex Luthor movie and he goes, I don't want to fight Superman.
I want to fight Batman.
Which, don't get me wrong, that's actually a battle that I would actually like to see, but that's not who you're most associated with.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then William says he was not at the top of the food chain. Well, that's true. WB should have told them, okay, you need to cool it on this. But again,
by that point, they were desperate for anything to be like a focal point for.
And this is old WB. And remember, this is the
last swing of old WB.
This is don't worry. There's one decision at the end of this that pretty much shows why I don't trust certain people that are at Paramount. Everyone here knows what I'm talking about, and we'll get to that point. But it's like, yeah, it's his main villain. But anyway, so it's the idea that Kahndaq is under the control of Intergang. They make no reference to Apocalypse, even though Intergang gets their tech from Apocalypse.
To be fair, it's not required to have Apocalypse with Intergang. It's not required.
Yeah, I guess so. There you go. But wait, is Mr. Mime a more important Shazam? No. Black Adam is more important.
No, I think they're equal.
Which one? Okay, general public didn't give two craps about Shazam, and there was no draw outside of us geeks, which makes up nearly nothing.
That's not the reason why The Rock didn't want to go with it.
No, but I think Williams talked about that there shouldn't have been a Shazam movie before you establish the other characters, like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and they didn't do that.
But we had the Shazam movie before Black Adam.
No, what he's talking about probably is that the Shazam movie in general should not have come out until you actually like solidified the Trinity.
True.
Because that
Black Adam should not have come out even later than that. Then.
Well, yeah, exactly. It should have told The Rock this will come out when Superman's movie, at least after Superman. Let's get a solid Superman movie in there that the general audience likes as well. That's what we need. And then William says we shouldn't have had a Shazam film at all, and I like that film. More on that. We can talk about that later. But it's like, so with this movie, so Adriana has this crown, and you find out how she gets in the prequel comics, and the crown of Sabak, and more on that later. Yeah. And they go to this tomb that essentially is like Black Adam's prison. Intergang shows up, they release Black Adam, And then, well, I will say this, the special effects and the way he fights and moves really fast, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Special effects in this movie are actually pretty decent. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, the directing and all that was not bad. That is not a problem at all.
I love where he just holds the dude and electrocutes him into a skeleton.
Because he's done that. He's done that.
This movie is PG-13 brutal.
Yes.
Like that's the interesting part about Black Adam is that they were able to do, you know why it's like where the skeleton part, they panned away so you don't see a lot of his like skin burning off. And
I'll say this. The biggest thing that really hurt this movie was, I hate to say it, Osiris or whatever his name was. The brother.
Oh, you mean the kid? Yeah,
and trying to give him like, when you see the Man in Black, tell him the Man in Black sent you. It's like, why does he need a catchphrase?
No, why do they keep trying to give heroes catchphrases?
Again, the fact they keep him trying to say it right.
You don't need it. It's like with this, or like what's the word? Or like I forget what it is.
No, thank you if I'm talking.
Yes, thank you. It's like that. It's like we're beyond the point when superheroes need to always have catchphrases. Here's the thing. What superhero has a regular catchphrase?
Barely anything, really.
Exactly. It's not a thing. Stop trying to make it a thing.
They may have old phrases that are associated with, like, up, and away. But Superman doesn't say it as often anymore.
Or it's like when they change Truth, Justice, American Way, and I go, okay, and then they're like, it shouldn't matter. And I go, if it shouldn't matter, why did you change it?
Great Hera is not really a catchphrase, though.
It's not real. Like Wonder Woman has a few.
Exemplary, like Great Row, Great Hera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But it's like, so Black Adam fights, and he also fights the armed more inter-gang forces. And I do love this, the whole like slow-mo sequences. The only part I don't like about it, I think it's really on the nose to play to play the actual audio from the song they're playing.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you could have done like an instrumental version of it, and I think it would have been fine. But I'm like, no.
Yep, and again, they said, like, now let's say the JSA were overall. And I bet you had Cyclone. You had, let's be honest, the one JSAer that I'm so glad they kept was what was his name now? The big guy.
Adam Smasher.
Adam Smasher, yeah. It's like you have to. He and Black Adam have that history.
Yeah, you really have to, even though this Black Adam, this Adam Smasher does not have the history. But again, you do, because Adam Smasher and Black Adam are like really close friends.
You need to start up here.
Yeah, exactly. Besides Bruce's "I am the Night," that's it. He doesn't really say that much in the comics. That was more like Kevin Conroy thing.
I know. I am Batman.
Yeah, exactly. So so Black Adam is injured because he's shot with a round that's like of Eternium, which is like apparently his kryptonite.
You gotta need that.
Yeah, exactly. And then he gets knocked out, and then Adriana takes him home. At the same time, I do like this. You have Hawkman watching on TV, and then Amanda Waller shows up, and they obviously have a history. The thing is, it shows that like Amanda Waller's in control of the Justice League.
Or the Society.
No, it says like affiliations, Justice League.
What? Now, make this clear. Don had nothing to do with any of this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
keep it on record. He had nothing to do with any of the stuff like Hargrove or anything. Any of the stuff that tied into Peacemaker, he had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I believe him.
Mm-hmm. So then you get to, this is the introduction of the team, and we have like Adam Smasher, we have Cyclone.
Which, let's be honest, that was a Richard Stargirl, and it kind of shows.
Yeah, it was definitely originally Stargirl, which I kind of wish it was Stargirl. Because let me put it to you this way. I like Cyclone. I know that she is associated with the JSA, but that's another thing. Stargirl is was more recognizable at this point because of the show.
And that's the reason why she wasn't in it.
Oh God, WB.
Because of the whole, you gotta have one or the other.
But I'm like, then don't cast the same actress.
No. And then they didn't want any of the cross, blending.
Oh God, this company is run by morons.
Oh yeah, there's more of the old one.
They nerfed Dr. Fate.
Dr. Fate's always been a little, depending on which era and how much he lets. Here's the thing: it's more about how much he lets Naboo take over.
Yeah, and in this one, he wasn't. I didn't get the idea that like Naboo was like in charge when he had the helmet on.
Because again, it goes back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. So, but again, it's like if you think he's been like nerfed, that's totally fine. But yeah, so then we get Kent, and I'm like, again, there are a lot of great castings in this movie, but I think that the best casting again is Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. Like and the suit design, the helmets look good. I mean, I'm a little bit not okay with the helmet not having eyes. But I'm like, okay, it looks okay.
Naboo can be very brutal if given control.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I mean, hey, look at how Naboo was in Young Justice.
By the way, McFarlane.
Nice.
Yeah, so I just wanted to do that. But yeah, it's like it's the discussion you have you guys are having should have been the same one that they had at the pitch meeting. Thank you, William. I know WB should hire me. I guarantee you I could get more creative ideas. So, I'm just kidding, of course. Had that happened, the film would have been shelved. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so then you get like, so they assemble the team, and it's like, I love where they're like, we're like, Smasher's like, do I need a passport? And then he goes, we don't need one. We're the Just Society. Here's the other problem with this. So it's another movie telling me there was another super team this entire time. Because remember, this is still in the supposed Snyderverse.
Yep.
So I'm like, this was the problem with the later DCEU. It's like, and Wonder Woman 1984 started this issue, but I was like, I'm watching this and I go, this whole time? And then how serious are we? How serious is this Saudi buying WB rumors? It's an option. It's not really like, I mean, I'm pretty sure they are considering it. I'm just not sure how far along they are on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. They're probably already too worried about what's going on with EA as it is.
Yeah, exactly. So, essentially, Black Adam wakes up, and this is where we get the annoying kid that's supposedly a massive DC fan. Like, there's merchandise. There's actual DC comic books, like actual issues that we can buy right now in this movie. Like, Future State, Superman and Wonder Woman. And I go...
And again, here's the problem. This was clearly a movie written before the DCEU started.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. It's like,
this was like a completely. I think they took advantage of the turmoil with the DCEU to get this movie going.
Yeah, exactly. And the other part that I think is kind of funny is like, so you see like the Wonder Woman movie poster. So I go, wait, is the Wonder Woman movie coming out is there actually a Wonder Woman movie in this?
Or is that supposed to be like a regular poster, but we know it as the movie poster?
That's what I think is more likely. But that kid is, it's kind of funny, Robert. It's like, yeah, it's kind of funny you bring up the kid. That's universally a lot of people's main problem with this movie.
Is the kid, because it's like, we don't need a kid and the hero.
Well, not only that.
Annoying enough, it was already, and that was something that Iron Man 3 mocked.
The other thing, again, it's like, if you have the kid, at least turn him into Osiris. Don't have him go, tell him the Men in Black sent you. I go, shut up.
And he kept trying to get it right. He kept botching it.
Dave says, and the Fonz had a cameo as Golden Age Adam. Yeah, that's true. The DCEU Justice was probably around since the early 70s. They were probably always a covert government team, but they never say that. I recently watched the Wonder Woman 1984 on Netflix. Interesting movie, not a perfect movie, but if you look at the theme at the beginning, it's basically about how not. Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
it doesn't stop it from being a horrible movie after that.
Well, let's be honest. Remember, Jerry, you and I both agreed it was more of a disappointment than it was bad.
The Wonder Woman parts were bad. The Amazon stuff is fine.
Yeah. I'm just pointing that out, but yeah.
Yeah, William says, I don't blame The Rock for taking advantage of the vacuum. I blame the management for leaving the vacuum. Yes, 100%. That is true.
Well, here's the other thing, Cameron. If he had become Osiris and his sister became Isis, it would have been fine. They didn't.
Well, also, do you really want nowadays in this political climate to have a superhero named Isis?
No,
I'm just saying that wouldn't look good. So, tell you a fun fact: I had to change the title of when Black Adam, when Britt and I did our Black Adam episode, because YouTube kept demonetizing the video because it had the word ISIS in the title, or like it wouldn't stream onto Twitter. So I literally had to go in there and change it to Adriana Tomas. Yeah, I'm like, this is clear. You realize that ISIS is not necessarily just a political group, right?
Yeah, that's probably why DC can't use her.
Yeah, exactly. Or at least change her name or something like that. Because, yeah, you really can't do that.
Well, and David's right. This could have led to the Black Adam story from 52 and World War III.
Oh, yeah. And then again, because you could say that this is where The Rock was trying to go. Because if you remember his statements, he wanted The Rock to fight the Justice League. And you could have done that with that, or like Kingdom Come, because that's
but he was trying to elevate Black Adam above his station.
Which again, you could have, because remember, we were in a post Iron Man world at this point when the movie came out. The problem is you needed a better script to do that. It was totally fine. Now let me put it this way: of the last batch of DCEU movies, short of Aquaman, this one's probably my favorite.
Okay.
This one's probably my of that last year of DC movies.
I would still say the Suicide Squad. I prefer that over this.
Suicide Squad came out before this in 2020.
Okay, you're right. And the last
I'm saying that very last year, where it was this, Shazam, Flash, and Aquaman.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, I keep forgetting this came out. This either came out the tail end of the year right beforehand, I think. Didn't it?
I think actually, you know what? Let me check here.
Yeah, I think this came out the tail end year of the year before the final year.
This came out 2022 of October. So yeah, it was like the last group, and the Suicide Squad came out August of 2021. So the year before.
Yeah.
So that's the point there. I mean, to be fair, Black Adam is, at least in my opinion, Dr. Doomy. He can be.
When handled well, yes, he can be.
Let me put it this way: under Jeff Johns in 52, and we will be doing it under Two Capes eventually on this, he is.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one time where he very much was. And yes, NJ brings up a good point. That definitely is that.
Yeah.
And tell him I know that, but it does. The theme is fine. I'm not saying the theme is bad. I'm saying the story itself is weak at best, crappy at worst.
Yes, exactly.
That's all I'm saying. But anyway, so back to Black Adam, please. So a Black Adam released as is would have been fine on the heels of a DC. Yes, exactly. That's the thing. It's like if you did Superman, Batman, maybe Wonder Woman, and then Black Adam. Yeah, 100% this movie, and those movies were well received. Let me be clear on this. Those have to be well received, and then people have that trust. Because again, Guardians happened and made what it did because people trusted Marvel.
Now, let me put it this way. But I did like also that pretty much the costume is following the Shazam costume.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I did like how they kept that consistency.
Yeah. So then... Again, this kid tries to tell him that you can be like a superhero. We've never had a superhero, but Superman, Batman, they never come here.
Okay,
but I'm like, that's never established. But okay.
Now I will say that when we get his backstory, I'm glad they didn't go the New 52 route.
Oh, okay. Let's go over that. What's the New 52 origin of Black Adam, Robert?
It was the powers given to his nephew. It was his nephew or his son.
I think his son.
No, it was his nephew originally because that was his uncle.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then of course he's trying to tell him like, we could use this to overthrow it. No, uncle, we just need to be an inspiration. Let's share the power together. Shazak, kill them.
Yes, Black Adam killed his own nephew. There is absolutely no way they were going to do that.
No way.
If they want Black Adam to have the possibility of being seen as a hero, they cannot have him steal the powers from his nephew after he snaps his neck.
Yeah.
Like, no. So anyway, Black Adam, like, I like the scene where Black Adam just walks through a wall.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, they don't have doors where you're from? He goes, of course they have doors. And I'm like,
yeah, because back then, no doors were not the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Doors were just the archways.
Yeah, exactly. So Black Adam, like, leaves the apartment and he's floating down. And then the kid's like, you need a kick-ass catchphrase. And I go, again, this kid is so stupid. And then Black Adam goes to the statue of the champion that looks like him. And I like this bait and switch that the movie does in terms of the story, where you think it's him. It's not, but we'll get into that.
Okay,
and
that
I
didn't mind.
Yeah, that was great. And then what you get is then the intergang and the kid annoyingly tries to like antagonize intergang, and then it's like they chase him. And then he goes, hey, Teth Adam, come save me. And then they do this weird thing where Black Adam is like in a gunfight duel with like the soldier. And I go, bro, you just fired an entire AR mag into this guy and it just bounced off. What do you think a handgun is going to do?
Yep. Oh, and Cameron, this is where we get, you go over what Cameron said.
I call BS and I'm sorry, but Clark would go, well, this, here's the thing. Cameron has a point. What was that entire montage of Batman versus Superman?
That's true.
This version of Clark, I think, would. And you can't tell me they didn't know, because I guarantee you Cyborg would know.
This is what I'm saying. This was written before the DCEU.
Yeah, which they should have, like, update. They should have updated the script.
It required an update.
Yeah, exactly. Because, like, if you do that, guess what? You can fit that. Oh, and
she
also brings up another point. So in Wonder Woman.
Now, here's the thing. From what I heard, The Rock was just so in love with the script, he basically refused to update it.
Well, here's the thing. This movie not doing as well as The Rock would have hoped is great, because you know why? It was a blow to the man's ego. He said
he needed it. He needed it.
You can't rely so much on like your own ego.
Again, Dave, because Intergang does not require Apocalypse.
Well, here's the other thing too. Remember, WB at this point was against Apocalypse being referenced in any. Their reasoning for canceling the New Gods movie is because the New Gods appeared in Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's why. Yeah. Oh, and remember, Zach wanted to have Jon Stewart show up at the end to talk to Batman, but but the WB said no because they had plans to use Green Lanterns.
Again, this is one of the things I'm grateful that Gunn definitely made clear. You could have juggle it.
Yeah, exactly. NJ says, and since DCEU, Diana's 5,000 years old, she could have met Black Adam. No, she was still on the island at this point.
Yeah, she was still, her mother might have.
It depends, but yeah, remember, she didn't leave until World War I.
Yep.
And DC Life, hey, what's up, man? Says it was a DOA move to have DC Revolver on Black Adam. Yeah, they were trying to turn him into DC's Thanos, and I go,
yep.
No, Black Adam has never been that.
Yep, they just wanted something. They just wanted the Rock's star power.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then I don't accept the narrative. I'm going to jump to this real quick because we'll talk about it more in depth when we get to that point. But I'm against the narrative that Henry Cavill's future as Superman was dependent upon this movie, because if that were true, they wouldn't have left it as a post-credit scene. If that was, let me put it this way: if their motivation for canceling Henry Cavill as Superman was this movie not doing well, then they're an idiot.
I agree. I think it was more of a case where the poor man got jerked around.
Yeah, exactly.
And I would say, and that's one of the things I do blame The Rock on as well.
Well, let me put it this way. The Rock at least got him back in the suit.
Well, yeah. Well, a suit.
Well, The Rock was not the one that told him to announce he was back. It's still before he has a contract. That was WB and his agent.
Oh, no, I agree. That I agree. And especially his agent.
Yeah, no wonder he fired his agent.
Among other reasons.
Well, yeah, exactly. So Black Adam, so the Justice Society show up and fight Black Adam, and then we we see like a lot of like Hawkman's powers where like the wings kind of retract. His mace can also turn into an axe, by the way, which is actually kind of cool. I like that. And he can like absorb the lightning from Black Adam. The fight, again, the fight scenes in this are spectacular. They are really, really good in the way this.
May I say what's on with William? What do you define a Z-lister? Because Z-lister is like Kite Man. Black Adam is not a Z-lister.
I would say C if I'm being generous, D if I'm being realistic.
Yeah, but Z is like Mouthman.
Yeah, and we see how that's helping the Wonder Woman book.
Yeah, but I'm saying Kite Man, Mouthman, Condiment Cake, the stuff that even the main comic people have no idea what they are.
You could say Mouseman knows. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so the lightning powers are really well done in this, and I like where like Black Adam breaks out and knocks out Atom Smasher, and Cyclone has to go up to Atom Smasher and like feel his breathing to see if he's alive because he's still massive.
Yeah, now I would say that felt like Cyclone.
Yeah, exactly. Dave says Lex Luthor and Deathstroke meeting up with Black Adam would have made more sense. Exactly.
But I think you would have told him to take a hike.
Yeah, to the general audience, he is a Z-lister. Let me put it.
A lot of characters are Z-listers by that logic.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's why you should have established the Trinity first and then gone on to Black Adam. It was Cecilia of Gunn to not hire. Well, here's the thing about that. Gunn may seem like it's his fault. No, Gunn did not say that. What he said it was WB. He never put the blame on Henry Cavill.
Never.
No, he said he basically said it was shitty what they put him through.
Yeah, he agreed.
Yeah, because like they had him announce he was back before they even had a contract. Not because at this point it was already like decided that Gunn was going to take over per se when they saw how the movie was performing. So it's like, now could they have asked Gunn to do one more movie to conclude all this with Henry Cavill? Sure, but it's like I kind of think they should have. But yeah, that was
Gunn was under no obligation.
That was Zaslav and no one else. Exactly, he screwed that up. Yeah.
Now wait, would you say that was Zaslav? From what I understand, it was the other people of WB. And not just that. That was the one who put his foot down.
He still assumes the responsibility because he's in a leadership position at this point.
Okay, which if he had to be there, if Zaslav took it upon himself, I'll let you give the man props then. If he's willing to own up to it.
Yeah, exactly. So then and this is where we start to get my chief problem with the movie. Again, Hawkman lecturing Black Adam on killing people. What?
Why?
This would have worked if it was Superman. Again, particularly Superman that snaps Zod's neck. But
or Atom Smasher.
But Hawkman? He had a comic literally called Savage Hawkman.
Yes.
What?
This is the ultra conservative. And I'll be right back. I'm going to be right back.
Yeah, the dude whacks people with a freaking mace. How is he lecturing people on killing? To the general audience, every comic book character is a Z-lister until a movie or TV show popularizes them. You could argue Iron Man. Yeah, exactly. That's true. William says it was Zaslav who communicated with Gunn while he issued contrasting instructions to Abdi and DeLuca. Okay. Yeah, you are right on that. So then you get to the chief fight, and then you have this one dude, Ishmael, that's trying to resurrect like Sabak. He's trying to be the champion of the demon Sabak. And Sabak, at least my first exposure to that character was the new 52 Shazam backup series that was in the Justice League book. And it was the idea. So they go and fight Intergang at this arena. You discover that like Ishmael wants to die because in order to be reborn as the champion of Sabak, you have to die. So Black Adam does that accidentally and he hurts the kid. So Adam feels responsible. He depowers, and this is where we learn the actual like what happened with the kid. The Marvel Iron Man comparison is not a good one at all. Okay, why William? But yeah, so let's see what else. Let's see. Excuse me. So then what you get is, let's see what else. All right. So he depowers and we learn the lesson. Okay. Hey, what's up?
I'm back.
Yeah, so he depowers himself because he hurt the kid in like the blast radius.
Again, that is not a Black Adam thing to do.
No, again, he's trying to make Black Adam like a straight up Superman, but he's not. That's the thing.
And now Black Adam would Black Adam get hurt by an innocent getting harmed? Yes.
Yeah, but he wouldn't like shut down his powers. He goes, I don't deserve these powers. No. So
now, given the backstory they give him.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this is where they reveal the champion statue is not Black Adam. It's Black Adam's son who got the champion powers. But what had happened is King Akhdon, the former king of Kahndaq, attacked Black Adam, killed his wife, and dramatically injured him. So the son gave the powers to him, and then the son was killed.
Which I kind of like that if you want to go for this type of Black Adam.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to go for the hero one, that works. And then he became more like vengeful, and it's revealed that like Black Adam can't altogether control his powers, which I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
I really don't know how I feel about that. I'm like, what? He seemed to be controlling his powers earlier.
Agreed.
I guess. But so then they take him to Task Force X. And this is where we see Amelia Harcourt and stuff. And everyone assumed that, like, this was Gunn forcing them in there. But
no, he did not like it.
Well, also, he didn't have the authority to do so yet.
Agreed.
But then you get, let's see, what else? Then you get, like...
Well, wait, by the way, with William, as we said before, they didn't have a choice there.
Yeah, exactly. But then you get to, like, what else? Then you get to... the Justice Society escape and the Hawkman ship, which by the way I like it, and then then the Sabak demon emerges, and it's Ishmael as Sabak, and he like shoots down the JSA, and then this whole movie, Fate has been having visions of the entire team failing and dying.
Now that I like. That was my favorite plot point, was the whole seeing Fate, the future.
Oh, yeah, I love that. That was great. And then because it's something Fate would do.
Exactly. And being willing to sacrifice himself. It's like, we knew it was going to happen because it's Peter. Like, who's the biggest name they wouldn't want to keep going?
Yeah, exactly. So Fate creates a force field around the temple because he's trying to protect Carter from dying. He goes and fights. He fights Sabak, and I do like the camera shot where it's bouncing from helmet to helmet. Goes, there is one that can fight us, Teth Adam, and then he basically awakens Black Adam. Now, what's cool, the movie does to release Black Adam from like the stasis pod is his victory animation from Injustice 2.
Yeah, I think that was intentional.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, okay. I recognized it immediately and I was like, yes, there you go. And
okay, that I will agree with William on, because DC was floundering at just picking any old project.
Yeah, exactly. It's like even after Justice League, and I mean the crappy Justice League, you should have followed it up with a sequel to Man of Steel to redeem Superman after what you did to him in Justice League.
Yep. Now, and yeah, this felt like a Batman Iron Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Hawkman.
Yeah, I kind of like that. No, I mean, I like this version. It's just I can't wrap my mind around a Hawkman that's averse to
that felt like an Alan Scott thing.
Yeah, exactly. So the Black Adam like escapes, and I like where he's like fighting through the guards. He gets out, and then you have this scene where he becomes Black Adam, and you notice his suit is different. Now it's like the actual classic Black Adam suit instead of like faded, and he has a cape. And I love where like the statue comes down, the kid, he catches it, and then it's like Adam Smasher's there. And then this thing basically turns into Dragon Ball Z where he shows up and he punches Sabak, and it's like a slow motion. And then it's like they have the lightning clash. And then this is the other part where the kid was really annoying me. He shows up on a skateboard with like the entire crowd of Kahndaq. Like he rallies Kahndaq, and I go, what?
Yep.
It's like he emerges, and I go, I no, I do not like that. And then also, so it basically ends where they CGI army fight against skeletal zombies.
Yeah, what?
Like, I don't understand this. And then Black Adam.
Oh, yeah, this felt like an MCU finale.
Oh, it definitely was.
Early MCU finale.
And then again, so Black Adam finally does the catchphrase right. And then what I will say, what I love, again, this movie's unintentional, is brutal, but cartoony brutal because he tears Sabak in half.
Well, yeah, that is what he would do.
That's what he would do, but I like how this is the advantage of making the guy a demon person, because you can do that. You can do that and not get an R rating.
Yeah, again, here's the thing: The Rock wanted to keep the tone back Black Adam to make him, more heroic than he's supposed to be. Which again tells me The Rock didn't get the character.
No, he claims he did, but he didn't. No,
I mean, I'll be honest. I always thought that The Rock was perfect casting originally. I always thought it was until the movie came out.
Yeah, because The Rock can be that like anti-hero, like he's been a villain before.
Yeah, but it felt like, again, the problem was him being also the producer.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no. So then he is like crowned as the champion. He goes, okay, we're all going to rule Kahndaq. And then, okay. Oh, but so yeah, Dr. Fate's helmet like goes away. And I'm like, I guess that was the tease that he could come back.
Or at least find a new host.
Yeah, exactly. So then you get the scene that lit everyone on fire. So Amanda Waller's drone deploys and says, okay, Black Adam, you want to stay here? You're going to stay in Kahndaq. That will be your prison. And if you emerge from there, we'll fight you. And he goes, there's no one on this earth that can stop me. He goes, we can bring someone that's not from this earth. Send them all. The drone is destroyed. You see a shape land. It emerges, and it's Henry Cavill Superman going, it's been a while since anyone's made the world this nervous. Black Adam, we should talk. And I will say, I mean, what got people annoyed again was the use of the John Williams theme, because it wasn't associated with this Superman.
Right.
And the Man of Steel suit, I didn't really mind, because I know people were like, well, in Zack Snyder's Justice League, he has the black suit. He could have changed in between. And then
they went for a much brighter, bluer suit.
Yeah, and that's what he would have gotten again at the end of the Snyderverse. So you could say the story happened, or you could just say he changed suits. It's not. It's like Robert. How often does it happen in comics where a character will have a costume change and then the next issue, it's not a thing anymore?
Very much so.
Yeah. So I was like, no, that's not a problem with me. I'm fine with that. So then what you get, so that's the movie, and again, then. To help the movie, they had Henry Cavill announce that he's coming back as Superman before they had a contract. By the way, William had a good point. He said, here's why it is Zaslav's fault. Zaslav was communicating with Gunn while he gave contrasting instructions to Abdi and DeLuca.
That's true.
So that's why it is him. He told.
All right, fair enough.
He told those two, announce he's back. Hey, Gunn, yeah, you can completely reboot everything.
Okay, again, like I said, here's the issue why I don't agree with what William is saying here about audience won't go for a DCU Z-lister. Again, what is like by that logic, only go for the big the Trinity, Green Lantern, and Flash. Don't go for anyone else ever because no one's going to understand them.
Robert, he didn't say ever.
No, okay, but it's saying I won't go for because
Robert, he clarified in the comments that what you need to do is do the main characters first. The problem
All right.
with what they did post Justice League is that they didn't like firmly establish. We didn't even know who Batman was at this point. So no, you have to solidify that first. Have a Superman, Batman, maybe Wonder Woman movie, and then like let's say Black Adam.
Well,
that would have been fine.
That's true. Now, I think though they were trying to still salvage the DCEU, so in their mind they still have Batman and everything.
Well, yeah, no, but I know they were trying to establish it or like stabilize it, but you should have still followed up with a Superman movie.
Again, that would, and of course, their own issue was, of course, do they really want Cavill? Do they not?
No. They should have figured that out and then came out with a movie about your A-listers first. That's why Guardians happened.
All right, but again, that was the big issue with the old regime for Warner Brothers, and even the transitionary stuff for the Discovery Warner Brothers is they were just floundering and throwing anything at the wall and see what stuck.
Yeah, and even Gunn said they would give literally anyone that showed up to them a DC character.
Exactly.
And I'm like, yeah, well, that's 100% true. And he goes, there was no discernment of, is the script good? Is this a good story for the character?
Exactly. That is what I feel is the bigger problem there.
Yeah, it's like, well, it's like, look at the way Gunn is doing the DCU, Robert. His first movie. What was his first movie?
Superman.
Exactly. Because he's now. Do you need to do more A-list movies first? You can argue that, but at least with Superman, it's more justifiable to, particularly if you associate like Supergirl with Superman, which obviously it is, but like if you associate her in that movie, that's a little bit like, okay, I can kind of see why you would follow it up.
Well, look, my argument about it is that William is always saying no, but they treated Iron Man like an A-lister. Again, no. I think DC was trying to treat all of these characters as new A-listers is my argument there. Because again, Iron Man was never an A-lister before the movie at all. Thor was barely an A-lister.
Yeah,
he was more of a B-lister. But again, the movies made them A-listers.
Okay. Dave says this is after the huge success of ZSJL. How much more A-list can you get with that? That is true, but it's like theatrically.
Yes, theatrically.
That's the difference. And then DC Life says other movies also featured the Trinity and Shazam 2, along with Kyle's announcement made people feel like the Snyderverse was being restored. Gunn, what was so tone deaf to not fully. Well, again, how is he tone deaf though?
Yeah, how is he tone deaf?
Because cameos in movies don't. I'm not talking about the Trinity cameoing in movies. I'm talking about them getting their own movies, particularly after. Let me put it to you this way. Let me establish the order of events the way this should have gone. Okay, Justice League happens. It completely flops and everything like that. That's when you follow it up with Superman. You essentially restart. By restart, I mean Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. Establish your Trinity. Get them on firmer ground first. Once those are established and once those are firm, once those are profitable movies, what you then do is then go, okay, who else can we bring in? Okay, then we can do like Black Adam or like Shazam and all those other movies.
Which again, yeah, the MCU did do that by giving us a Trinity with Iron Man, Thor, and Cap.
Yeah, and again, on that point, the reason why people showed up for Guardians is because they were like, okay, at this point, most of the Marvel movies have been great. So I know that if it has the Marvel Studios logo, it's going to be great. DC did not have that at this point.
That's true. That is true. And let's be honest, DC has been always fumbling or mismanaging since the beginning.
Well, the other thing is and William alludes this was also the time where it was being reported that that WB, because they didn't know what they were going to do with Superman and Batman, they wanted their new Trinity to be Supergirl, Batgirl, and Wonder Woman.
I remember that.
And that's verifiably true. And I'm like,
yeah, again, they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know what they were doing at all.
And this is why I don't want Walter Hamada anywhere near DC.
Yeah, Hamada was, like I said, his start was off the coattails of what Jeff Johns started, and then afterwards he didn't know what the heck he was doing.
Yeah, you notice once Jeff Johns left, which is like around the time of like after Aquaman Shazam, that's when everything went to hell.
Yeah, and like I said, I predicted that would happen. I knew as soon as Hamada came on, but the movies that Jeff got started were going to come out. He was going to get all the credit for stuff Jeff started, and Jeff would get zero credit.
Yeah, exactly. And then DC Life says tone deaf because he didn't understand how not fully rebooting the DC made it look like it was. I think what he's talking about is tone deaf for bringing back other characters like Peacemaker when you said you're rebooting. That I agree with.
That's true.
He should have said, okay, there's also Gunn's ego. He should have said, nope, for the betterment of the brand, no one's coming back.
That's fair.
That's where it looked like he was picking on Cavil.
All right, that's fair.
But it's like, look, and here's the thing. If it was left up to Jeff Johns, like, here's the way they should have done the DC EU. You could have Johns on board as like a creative consultant or like a creative head, kind of like Gunn is now, but have someone that understands the movie side of it. Then what you could do,
like Hamada, you could have had Hamada with him.
You have Hamada in the like Saffron role, handling the business side of it, but he handles the creative. Hamada would not touch the creative. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And then after that, you could have possibly had, hey, Zach, come back and complete your stuff. Now that we're on for a little bit more solid ground, come back and complete your story.
Yeah, again, Hamada really never understood comics at all.
No, exactly. And then John should.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying he should be in control of Wonder Woman NJ. I'm just saying he's in control of, like, where does the
greater DC EU. The greater DC EU.
Yeah, obviously someone else handle Wonder Woman for the love of God, please.
Mm-hmm.
I will admit DC was squandering the momentum of ZSJL, but if people love this movie, it wouldn't have mattered. Dwayne The Rock Johnson's fatigue was partly to blame. That is also true. DC Life says old WB not only did not want what you said about reestablishing the Trinity, they introduced Matt Reeves' Batman to confuse the situation even more. That is true because people are like, is that a prequel to Batman? Because remember, that was originally like also the Ben Affleck Batman movie, because remember Reeves was going to do the Ben Affleck Batman movie. Then it was like, no, he's doing his own Batman movie. So it's like there was
originally Affleck was going to write and direct and star in it originally.
Yeah, it's like it was also Affleck who leaked that Deathstroke was going to be in the movie. He leaked the suit.
Yep.
But it's like, yeah, that.
Okay, basically we're reaching the tumultuous era.
Yeah. Oh, and also William brings up a good point, though. Plus, we also forget Marvel didn't start with the MCU for 8 years. Previous films like X-Men, Spider-Man brand had been being built. The general audience trusted that logo. That is true. And then wait. And then William says, so Iron Man could be a B-lister, even though I don't think he was. The general audience already knew Marvel as a cinematic brand. That's a good point.
To a point, yes, I will give it that. Yes. And up until, again, that's always been the disadvantage DC has had, is that up to that point, it was always just Superman and Batman.
Yeah, and then NJ says, even now, if it wasn't for Zaslav and all those people, Wonder Woman wouldn't even be introduced in the DCU because Gunn doesn't care. True.
Doesn't care, but also, again, you also have the whole notion of, do you force it to go through and just come up with something mediocre?
Yeah, but still, it's like put it this way. You put the effort in. You put out a call. Because it's like put it this way. Clayface should not have gotten a movie before Wonder Woman.
Fair enough.
I am going to be firm on that. DC
right.
Life says absolutely. Yeah, that is stupid.
What the hell?
I'm like, here's the thing.
That is woke.
Yeah, exactly. Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are like the 3 most popular characters of DC. That's why they're the Trinity. You don't force it.
That felt so much like someone that had an agenda pushed it.
Yeah, it was either that, or it's also because, let's be honest, they said instead of actually working through like our contractual issues with Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck or whoever's going to be Batman, let's just go ahead and replace the 2 characters. The audience will still watch it. And I go, no.
Right. Now, I think Cameron's talking about Clayface.
Why is he getting a movie in the first place? No, I'm not against Clayface getting a movie. I'm just saying He should not. The Trinity. If I were in charge of the DCU, like if I were overseeing Gunn, what I would have said before all this stuff got announced, it says no D-listers or no below. Let me put it this way: no non-A-listers get movies until Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman have had their movies released.
Well, to be fair, let's be honest. When they initially announced it, a lot of those were just carryovers from the Hamada era.
No, but I would have said no. Your stuff. Like, let me put it this way: you have to organize this so at least a Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman project comes out first.
Right. Now, can I be honest here? Do I think we can have two different Batman and people will not be that confused? Yes, I do believe so.
The same actor.
That's why I'm so against Pattinson being the DCU Batman, because I was like, no, that would lead to confusion.
That would lead to confusion. And it's like anyone saying that, like they'll be confused by like two Batman, because everyone's gonna be like, wait, so is the Reeves verse canon to the DCU? Because Reeves does not want that to be canon.
And again, you have so many people who want to just force it.
That was the reason why Reeves signed on to do his crime saga, because he said, I didn't want it to be part of any other continuity that then all of a sudden I have to deal with.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's like, what are you guys doing? It's like people even ask Nolan if like other heroes exist, and he goes, no, Batman is the only superhero in my universe.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, maybe the future of WB will force him to put Trinity first. Maybe.
But we already know Zaslav is encouraging him to get it out the door.
Encouraging, I think forcing. Dave the Impaler says the Dark Knight was considered the gold standard of comic book movies. DC only had real success with Batman. That's why. It's because Marvel had more success with other characters other than like Spider-Man.
Even though they had little to no control over those.
But still, the Marvel name.
That's true. But which way you can make the argument, did they earn it? No.
No, but at the very least, when people saw Marvel and they see like they at this point they thought of X-Men movies and they're like, those are largely good. Okay.
Now let's be honest, that's part of the reason people could make the argument. Part of the reason why the Man of Steel did so well is because it was carryover from the Dark Knight.
Yeah, because you also had Christopher Nolan's name on it too.
Exactly.
And then you also add on peak Zack Snyder, because this was after like Watchmen, 300, and like some of his best movies at that point. And it was like, oh, Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan. Oh,
yeah, exactly. You could make that argument that it was at least on a good starting point, but then it all just because again, you have people involved who cared more about their bonuses than they cared about good movie making.
That was more Justice League.
Well, but I'm saying that's when everything started to fall down.
Yeah, and by the way, Cameron, Zach was the original plan was Zach was just gonna do like essentially what Christopher Nolan did with like a Batman trilogy, but with Superman. But WB, after seeing the success of Man of Steel, was like, hey, can you give us basically an MCU? And Zach's like, okay, cool. Can I have a Superman, Batman? Can I get to there like Marvel did? No, you need to get to Justice League now.
Okay, here's the other thing people have to remember. When the MCU started, Marvel was operating independent of any other studio.
Yeah, they were their own thing.
Yeah, they didn't answer to Disney or anyone yet. DC has always been shackled to WB. That's always been their greatest disadvantage.
Yeah, exactly. So the old Marvel didn't have to worry about like creative interference.
Yeah, exactly. So that's always been the biggest disadvantage, and why I always feel like DC has a handicap. Now, granted, they've lost a lot of their handicap thanks to DC Studios, which I will always say was one of the best ideas they could have done.
Well, let me put it this way. That's what they should have done from the very beginning, the minute they started to establish a DCEU.
But nope, they wanted to keep it under WB.
Which, yeah, that's part of what, because again, if you had, like, let me put it this way, if what happened to Zach in Justice League, like his daughter dying, unfortunately, had happened at this point with, like, obviously DC Studios established, they would have delayed it.
Yep, and Cameron, they were their own, they were an independent studio.
Yeah, exactly. That's why the beginning, because what had happened was, okay, So they spun up like essentially their
They
studio.
they said it. Let's do our own movies.
Well, not only that, here's the risk that they were under. They borrowed money from a bank under the condition that if one of these movies fails, they have to pay back the entire thing.
Yep.
So if one of those original Marvel movies bombed, there would be no MCU.
Which also explains why, when they did the movies, they ended up using. When you look at like the Iron Man, that was so by the seat of their pants. It's not even funny.
Yeah, exactly. And
I mean, again, Jeff Bridges had said originally, like, "Oh, I get to wear the suit." No, you don't get to wear the suit. Aw, later in production, guess what? You get to wear the suit. Oh, cool.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point there. Now again, it's like there should have been an independent studio for Marvel. I think we can all agree on that. The minute they said we're gonna do a DCEU, okay, let's make it its own thing, like Marvel does. They're trying to copy everything else Marvel did. You know, it's kind of funny. They were trying to copy Marvel's success without copying the steps that Marvel took to get that success.
And again, it was the WB's egos. They felt, we're a movie studio. We don't need to separate things.
But William, here's the difference. Feige is the head of Marvel Studios, so it's his job to interfere. It's not like you have someone, some Joe Schmo from Disney that's interfering.
Again, this is why we said Jeff could have been a good person if he had someone else alongside him.
Yeah, because if there's one person that understands these characters other than Wonder Woman, it's Jeff Johns.
Exactly.
Or at least have some creative, some guy from the comic book arm involved in this. Like also, here's another thing that people forget. At least with Iron Man, you had a bunch of comic book writers that were overseeing the creative process.
Yes.
To make sure it oversaw everything. The Brain Trust with like Bendis and a few of the other guys. I know. With a few of those other creatives that oversaw the full thing.
Why did you say that name?
Hey, you set up the rules, not me.
Oh, I know. Like I said, Phase 1 it could have been possible if Superman, Batman, World's Finest, Wonder Woman, Trinity, Brave and the Bold, Justice. Yeah, I think so, because you have Superman and Batman, so you have the two things. A team up, yes. Wonder Woman, yes. You're slowly doing those team ups. You're slowly building. You're essentially taking the stepping stones.
Yep. By the way,
we're not talking about Jeff Johns writing the movies at all. We're just saying he says, here's the general story. Here's what we're going to. Creatives, get us there.
Now, here's the other thing we got to remember. Patty Jenkins also co-wrote that, and we don't know who wrote what.
Well, let me put it this way. Either way, let me put it this way. Here's the interesting fact about that. But yeah, both of them were to blame. It's just Robert and I will be the first to admit if there's one character that Jeff Johns cannot write well, it's Wonder Woman.
Look at everything else he's ever worked on. Stargirl and all that.
Yeah, he's a good writer with other characters, particularly Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like
you can't blame him for the Green Lantern movie because that was Mark Guggenheim.
Yeah, exactly.
Who has proven he doesn't give a crap.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see that. Hang on. Who wrote Green Lantern?
Again, it was I think that
Berlanti as well.
Yep.
Explains it.
Yep.
That explains it.
Yeah, Dave makes the point. Marvel was partnering with Paramount and Universal for distribution, but yeah, it was still a major risk.
That explains it. Oh my gosh. No wonder Burnett sucks. A new 52 guy pass. No, but I'm saying they should have had. It's like, William, I've heard you say on your stream that they should have someone in the some comic book guy that gets these characters at least overseeing the stories, like taking a look at them and saying, does that sound like what the character would say? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Currently we have King doing that.
That's very concerning.
Yeah, we're at least having. Now, granted, again, he does. I would rather, I'll be honest, I'd rather have King than just some Joe Schmo corporate suit.
I don't know. I don't know. Well, it depends on what character, because with Wonder Woman, no. Agreed. The order the DCU films wasn't the problem. That they did wasn't the problem. They did it the right way. They just didn't stand behind their product. Well, yeah, that is also true. She has been a symbol of peace and love and war. Well, yeah, exactly. That's what a lot of people don't get. And then Dave says Berlanti is another guy who does some decent TV, but needs to be kept far away from the movies. Well, here's the other thing. He dramatically changed the characters in the actual TV show as well.
Yeah, he was smart enough to at least to be like, okay, I'll stay as true to the characters as I can. Okay, if I got a big enough gay reputation where people just give me carte blanche, okay, I'll do whatever I want now.
Yeah. William says Johns is good as long as he has a boss to tell him no when needed. Well, that's really everyone, really.
That's everyone.
When you think about it. But yeah, but I think that is a very good place to leave it. So overall, how do you rate Black Adam?
6, 7-ish.
I'll give it a 7. I'll give it a 7.
Yeah, 7.
It's not like horrible. Let me put it this way again. And someone says at the beginning of the stream, it's mid.
It is very mid.
Yeah. Literally, it's order. I'm just pulling up a list so we can see what our next movie is. So we will be discussing for next week Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Hell yeah.
Yep.
I'm excited.
That one deserved better.
That one deserves dramatically better because overall, it was really enjoyable, really good. And that was the other one where WB was so desperate they leaked that Wonder Woman was in the movie without telling the director, and the director's like, "Well, I guess you know that Wonder Woman's in the movie."
Yep, and let's be honest, this movie hurt it.
Mm-hmm.
I am positive Black Adam hurt Shazam.
Well, it's also this was the around the time that the movie came out, Shazam, is when they announced they were doing the reboot.
That too. But I'm saying I think both hurt, is what I'm saying.
Well, again, do I think so? No, because they didn't really associate this movie with Shazam short of the Wizard.
True.
So I don't necessarily think that. But anyway, so we're talking about Shazam 2, which I'm fine with it because I love that movie.
Yep,
Again,
same here.
Most of the rest of these movies I enjoy to a degree. Flash is the one I enjoy the least, but I still enjoy it.
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, so we're good. So Robert, where can we find you? What we got coming out?
Link down below. I've got PTNs. I have my 625th coming up Monday. Jared and I did where we go over Grant Morrison's Action Comics run. And then in a few minutes, I will be starting up Dispatch Episode 3.
Hell yeah. For me, at 9:30, Britt and I will be going live to do our Super Wonder episode. We compare Super Wonder to Supreme and Glory. Pretty dope characters, if I may say so myself.
Mm-hmm.
And for tomorrow, I'm going to go through every single issue of Tom King's Wonder Woman and talk about where it goes wrong. So be on the lookout for my pain. And then, Dave says 7.5 for me. Black Adam's a solid movie, but the screenplay could have been punched up quite a bit. Yeah. I think that's a good place to summarize it. And it's good. And William says it's a movie without a universe that was called on to support one. That's actually a good way to talk about it. Wow.
Yep. Hope we know how he's going to stand next week.
Oh, yeah, we know. But it's all good, William. But anyway. And then back Athena, I'm going to play the trailer again before we log off. So be sure to back Athena.
My home has been invaded, my people slaughtered, and I could not do anything to stop it. Not again. I will not lose another home, another family. I am Princess Lyra of the planet Sutragar, Athena, the goddess of thunder, and this is my story.
And so there's the link to Back Athena, and we will see you guys for Shazam: Fury of the Gods. So to stay heroic, everyone, remember Lois Lane is Lois Lane, and Steve Trevor, Steve Never. She belongs to General Zod. He belongs the bottom of a hydraulic press. Zoe is the Maxibat for life. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.